Most people underestimate what they can accomplish in 6 months, and they drastically overestimate what they can accomplish in 6 years. They think about change in terms of decades, and because the time frame seems so overwhelming, they never start. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances, but I'm here to tell you that perfection is the enemy of progress. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. 6 months, 180 days, 4,320 hours. Every single one of those hours is an opportunity to move closer to the person you want to become. But here's what most people don't understand. Transformation isn't about making massive changes overnight. It's about making small, consistent improvements that compound over time. It's about the slight edge, that tiny advantage you gain each day that seems insignificant in the moment but becomes extraordinary over time. Think about it this way. If you improve just 1% each day, in 70 days you'll be twice as good as you are today. In 6 months, you'll be a completely different person. Not because of one dramatic moment of change, but because of the accumulated effect of daily discipline applied consistently over time. This is the magic of compound interest, not just with money, but with your life, your skills, your relationships, your health, your mindset. But before we talk about how to change everything, we need to understand why most people don't. The answer is simple. They don't have a compelling enough reason. They have wishes, they have hopes, they have dreams, but they don't have reasons. And here's a fundamental truth you must understand. Reasons come first, answers come second. When your reasons are strong enough, you'll find the answers. When your why is clear, the how becomes apparent. So let me ask you, what's your why? Why do you want to change? Is it because you're tired of being tired? Tired of feeling stuck? Tired of watching other people live the life you want? Is it because you want to provide a better future for your family? Because you want to finally respect the person you see in the mirror? Because you want to prove to yourself and others what you're truly capable of? Whatever your reason, it needs to be strong enough to pull you through the inevitable challenges that come with change. Because make no mistake, change is not easy. If it were easy, everyone would be living their dream life. Change requires you to do things you've never done before, to think thoughts you've never thought before, to become someone you've never been before. It requires you to step outside your comfort zone and into your growth zone. And your comfort zone, while comfortable, is also where dreams go to die. Your comfort zone is seductive. It whispers to you, stay here, safe here, you know what to expect here. But safety is largely an illusion. The only real security in life comes from your ability to adapt, to grow, to change with the changing times. In today's world, the skill of learning is more valuable than any specific knowledge, because what you know becomes obsolete, but your ability to learn and adapt remains forever valuable. Now, let's talk about the first month of your transformation. This is what I call the foundation month. During this crucial first 30 days, you're not trying to climb Mount Everest. You're simply establishing new habits, new routines, new ways of thinking and being. You're laying the groundwork for everything that's to come. And the most important thing you can do during this first month is to get clear on exactly what you want. Most people are fuzzy about their goals. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy, or I want to make more money. But success without definition is just a wish. Happiness without specificity is just hope. Money without a target is just fantasy. You must get crystal clear about what you want, when you want it, and why you want it. Write it down. There's something magical that happens when you take a thought and transfer it from your mind to paper. It goes from being a wish to being a goal. It goes from being abstract to being concrete. It goes from being someday to being specific. Your goals must be written. They must be specific. They must be measurable. And they must have deadlines. A goal without a deadline is just a wish with better grammar. During this first month, you're also establishing what I call your daily disciplines. These are the small, seemingly insignificant things you do every single day that will compound over time to create extraordinary results. Maybe it's reading for 30 minutes each morning. Maybe it's exercising for 20 minutes. Maybe it's making 5 phone calls to prospects. Maybe it's writing in a journal. Maybe it's learning a new skill for an hour each day. The key is to start small but be consistent. Don't try to read for 3 hours on your first day and burn yourself out. Start with 10 minutes. Don't try to run a marathon on day one. Start by walking around the block. The goal in the first month is not to achieve perfection, but to establish consistency. Consistency is the mother of mastery, and mastery is what creates results. And here's something crucial to understand about the first month: you will face resistance. Your old self, your old habits, your old ways of thinking don't want to change. They're comfortable with the status quo. They've been running the show for years, maybe decades, and they don't want to give up power. This resistance is normal, it's natural, and it's temporary. The key is to expect it and push through it anyway. Most people quit during the first month because they expect change to feel good immediately. But change doesn't feel good at first. It feels uncomfortable, awkward, unnatural. It's like learning to write with your opposite hand. At first it feels clumsy and ineffective. But with practice it becomes natural. The same is true with any new habit, any new skill, any new way of being. By the end of your first month, something remarkable will have happened. You'll start to see glimpses of the new you. You'll have small victories, small breakthroughs, small moments where you think, hey, maybe I really can do this. These moments are precious. They're the fuel that will power you through the next phase of your transformation. Month 2 is what I call the momentum month. This is where the magic really starts to happen. The habits you established in month 1 are starting to feel more natural. The resistance you faced initially is starting to weaken. You're beginning to see some results, some progress, some forward movement. And progress, no matter how small, is incredibly motivating. During month 2, you want to build on the foundation you established in month 1. If you were reading for 10 minutes a day, maybe you increase it to 15 or 20 minutes. If you were walking around the block, maybe you start walking for 2 blocks, or you add a light jog. The key is gradual progression, not dramatic leaps. Remember, we're building a lifestyle, not just achieving a temporary result. This is also the month where you want to start surrounding yourself with the right influences. Jim Rohn said, you become who you spend time with. If you're spending time with people who complain, criticize, and make excuses, guess what? You'll start complaining, criticizing, and making excuses. But if you surround yourself with people who are growing, learning, and striving to become better, you'll be pulled up by their example. Start reading books written by people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Start listening to podcasts by experts in your field. Start attending seminars, workshops, conferences. Start associating with people who are where you want to be. Your network determines your net worth. But more importantly, your associations determine your aspirations. You cannot rise above the limitations of your associations. During month 2, you'll also want to start tracking your progress more deliberately. What gets measured gets improved. Keep a journal of your daily activities, your thoughts, your challenges, your victories. Look back at where you were 30 days ago and celebrate how far you've come. Progress is often invisible on a daily basis, but remarkable over time. It's like watching grass grow. You don't notice the change from day to day, but over time, the transformation is undeniable. Month 3 is the breakthrough month. This is where you start to see significant changes, not just in your circumstances, but in your identity. You start to think of yourself differently. Instead of saying, I'm trying to eat healthier, you start saying, I'm a healthy person. Instead of saying, I'm working on my business, you start saying, I'm an entrepreneur. This shift in identity is crucial because we always act in accordance with who we believe we are. Your identity is formed by your daily habits. Every time you make your bed, you reinforce the identity of someone who pays attention to details. Every time you exercise, you reinforce the identity of someone who values their health. Every time you read, you reinforce the identity of someone who values learning and growth. Small actions repeated consistently over time don't just change what you do, they change who you are. By month 3, people will start to notice the changes in you. They might not be able to put their finger on exactly what's different, but they'll sense something. You'll carry yourself differently. You'll speak differently. You'll have a different energy about you. This external validation is encouraging, but don't become dependent on it. The most important validation is the one you give yourself. During this month, you might also face what I call the plateau phase. This is where progress seems to slow down or even stop altogether. Don't be discouraged by this. Plateaus are not a sign that you're failing. They're a sign that you're consolidating your gains, preparing for the next level of growth. Think of a plateau like the deep breath an athlete takes before making their final push to the finish line. The key during a plateau is to stay consistent with your daily disciplines and trust the process. Remember, bamboo grows underground for years before it breaks through the surface, and then it can grow 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Your growth might not always be visible, but it's always happening as long as you're consistently putting in the work. Month 4 is the acceleration month. This is where the compound effect really starts to show its power. The habits you've been building, the skills you've been developing, the mindset you've been cultivating all start to come together in beautiful synergy. You start to see connections between different areas of your life. Your improved physical health gives you more energy for your work. Your enhanced learning gives you better results in your career. Your increased confidence improves your relationships. This is also the month where opportunities start to appear. But here's an important distinction. Opportunities don't actually increase. Your ability to recognize and capitalize on them increases. You've been developing what I call prepared eyes. You see possibilities that were always there, but that you were blinded before. You have conversations that lead to connections. You notice trends that lead to ideas. You spot problems that lead to solutions. During month 4, you want to start thinking bigger. The person you were 4 months ago might have been intimidated by certain goals or opportunities. But the person you're becoming is capable of more than you ever imagined. This is the time to stretch yourself, to set bigger goals, to take on greater challenges. Don't let your past limitations define your future possibilities. But with greater opportunity comes greater responsibility. You have more to manage now, more to keep track of, more to be accountable for. This is where you need to develop systems. Systems are what allow you to handle complexity without being overwhelmed by it. Systems are what turn chaos into order, confusion into clarity, overwhelming into manageable. Month 5 is the refinement month. By now you've established strong habits, you've made significant progress, and you've started to see real results in your life. But month 5 is about fine-tuning, about taking what's working and making it even better, about identifying what's not working and either improving it or eliminating it altogether. This is when you become more selective about how you spend your time and energy. You realize that not all activities are created equal. Some activities move you closer to your goals, while others just keep you busy. Some relationships energize you and support your growth, while others drain you and hold you back. Some habits serve your future, while others just serve your past. During month 5, you develop what I call strategic laziness. This doesn't mean you become lazy in the traditional sense. It means you become lazy about doing things that don't matter so you can be incredibly focused and energetic about the things that do matter. You start saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great opportunities. You start delegating or eliminating low-value activities so you can focus on high-value activities. You also become more efficient with your learning. Instead of consuming information randomly, you become strategic about what you learn and how you learn it. You realize that learning without application is just entertainment, but learning with immediate application is transformation. You start implementing what you learn faster, testing it in the real world, getting feedback and adjusting accordingly. Month 5 is also when you start thinking about sustainability. The changes you've made over the past 4 months need to be changes you can maintain long term. If your new lifestyle requires you to be on all the time, if it doesn't allow for any flexibility or enjoyment, it's not sustainable. The best changes are the ones that improve your life while also being enjoyable and maintainable over time. Month 6 is the transformation month. This is where everything comes together. The habits are automatic now. The mindset is natural. The skills are sharp. The results are undeniable. You look back at who you were 6 months ago and it feels like looking at a different person. And in many ways, you are a different person. But here's what's remarkable about month 6. It's not just about who you've become, it's about who you now know you can become. The confidence you've built, the skills you've developed, the habits you've established, these are tools you can use for the rest of your life. You've proven to yourself that you can change, that you can grow, that you can achieve things you once thought impossible. During this final month of your initial transformation, you want to start thinking about your next 6 months. Because transformation isn't a destination, it's a way of life. The person who can transform their life in 6 months is the person who continue transforming their life indefinitely. You've developed what I call transformation muscles, and like any muscle, they get stronger with use and weaker with neglect. But let's talk about some of the specific areas where you can see dramatic change in just 6 months. Let's start with your health. 6 months of consistent exercise and proper nutrition can completely transform your physical appearance, your energy levels, your sleep quality, your mood, and your confidence. I've seen people lose 50 pounds, run their first marathon, completely reverse chronic health conditions, all in 6 months or less. The key with health transformation is to think of it as a lifestyle change, not a temporary fix. Crash diets and extreme exercise programs might give you quick results, but they're not sustainable. Instead, focus on building habits you can maintain for life. Start with small changes. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park farther away from the entrance. Replace one unhealthy snack with a healthy one. These small changes compound over time to create remarkable results. Your financial situation can also change dramatically in 6 months. Now, I'm not talking about get-rich-quick schemes or lottery tickets. I'm talking about developing the financial habits and knowledge that lead to long-term wealth. Start tracking your expenses, start budgeting, start paying yourself first, start learning about investing. Start developing additional streams of income. 6 months of focused financial education and disciplined action can put you on a completely different financial trajectory. You might not be rich in 6 months, but you can definitely be on the path to riches. You can have your debt under control, your expenses managed, your savings growing, and your financial future looking brighter than ever before. Your career can transform in 6 months as well. Maybe you learn a new skill that makes you more valuable in the marketplace. Maybe you start a side business that eventually becomes your main business. Maybe you network your way into a new opportunity. Maybe you finally get the promotion you've been working toward. Or maybe you discover that your true calling is something completely different from what you're doing now. The job market is changing rapidly, and the people who thrive are the ones who adapt quickly. 6 months is enough time to learn a new technology, earn a certification, build a portfolio, or develop expertise in a growing field. The key is to focus on developing skills that are valuable, that are in demand, and you genuinely enjoy using. Your relationships can also transform in 6 months. You can learn to communicate better, to listen more effectively, to resolve conflicts more constructively. You can strengthen existing relationships and build new ones. You can learn to set better boundaries with people who drain your energy and invest more time in people who energize you. Relationships are the foundation of a rich and meaningful life. No one succeeds alone, and no one is truly happy in isolation. The quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life. 6 months of focused effort on improving your relationship skills can pay dividends for decades to come. Your knowledge and skills can expand dramatically in 6 months. You can read 24 books, complete an online course, attend multiple seminars, or even learn a new language to conversational level. The key is to be strategic about what you learn. Don't just learn for the sake of learning. Learn things that will help you achieve your goals and become the person you want to be. In today's world, your ability to learn quickly and adapt to change is one of your most valuable assets. The half-life of skills is getting shorter and shorter. What you learned in college might be obsolete in just a few years. But if you develop the habit of continuous learning, you'll always be ahead of the curve. Your mindset and emotional intelligence can also transform dramatically in 6 months. You can learn to manage your emotions more effectively, to think more positively and constructively, to handle stress and pressure better. You can develop greater self-awareness, self-control, and self-confidence. The way you think determines the way you feel, and the way you feel determines the way you act, and the way you act determines your results. If you can change the way you think, you can change your entire life. And changing your thinking patterns is absolutely something you can do in 6 months with consistent effort and the right techniques. But here's something important to understand about 6-month transformation. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. You don't have to get everything right. You don't have to be perfect every single day. You just have to be consistent more often than you're inconsistent. You have to make more good choices than bad choices. You have to take more steps forward than steps backward. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. And progress is something you can achieve every single day in small ways with small choices, through small actions. The compound effect of these small daily improvements is what creates the dramatic transformation over 6 months. Now let me share with you some practical strategies for making the most of your 6-month transformation period. First, start each day with a morning routine that sets the tone for success. This might include exercise, meditation, reading, journaling, or planning your day. The way you start your day often determines how the rest of your day unfolds. Your morning routine doesn't have to be long or complicated. Even 30 minutes of intentional, focused morning time can dramatically improve your entire day. The key is consistency. Do your morning routine every single day, even on weekends, even when you don't feel like it, even when life gets busy. Consistency is what transforms a routine into a habit, and habits are what create long-term results. Second, end each day with an evening routine that allows you to reflect on your progress and prepare for the next day. This might include reviewing your goals, celebrating your wins, identifying areas for improvement, and planning tomorrow's priorities. The last thoughts you have before going to sleep often become the first thoughts you have when waking up, so make them constructive and positive. Third, schedule your priorities instead of prioritizing your schedule. Most people let their calendar fill up with other people's priorities and then wonder why they're not making progress on their own goals. Block out time for your most important activities first, then fill in the rest of your time with everything else. Protect your priority time like you would protect a meeting with your most important client, because that's exactly what it is. Fourth, measure what matters. You need to have clear metrics for success in each area of your life you want to change. If you want to improve your health, track your weight, your measurements, your energy levels, your workout frequency. If you want to improve your finances, track your income, your expenses, your savings rate, your net worth. If you want to improve your relationships, track the quality time you spend with important people, the depth of your conversations, the positive interactions you have. What gets measured gets improved, but more importantly, what gets measured gets your attention. When you're tracking something, you think about it more, you make better choices about it, you take it more seriously. Measurement turns abstract goals into concrete realities. Fifth, create accountability systems. Change is hard enough when you're doing it alone. It's much easier when you have support. Find an accountability partner, join a mastermind group, hire a coach, or simply tell important people in your life about your goals and ask them to check in with you regularly. When you know someone is going to ask you about your progress, you're much more likely to make progress. Sixth, prepare for obstacles and setbacks. Change is never a straight line. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. There will be unexpected challenges that throw off your routine. There will be moments when you question whether all this effort is worth it. This is normal. The key is to expect these obstacles and have a plan for dealing with them. When you face a setback, don't use it as an excuse to give up entirely. Instead, get back on track as quickly as possible. One bad day doesn't ruin a week. One bad week doesn't ruin a month. One bad month doesn't ruin 6 months. The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who recover from failure the fastest. Seventh, celebrate your progress along the way. Transformation is hard work, and hard work deserves to be celebrated. Don't wait until the end of 6 months to acknowledge your progress. Celebrate small wins along the way. Treat yourself when you hit milestones. Share your successes with people who care about you. Recognition and celebration are powerful motivators that will fuel your continued progress. But here's what I really want you to understand about 6-month transformation. It's not just about changing your circumstances. It's about changing yourself. External change without internal change is just temporary improvement. But when you change who you are at your core, when you change your beliefs, your habits, your identity, your character, then the external changes become inevitable and permanent. You see, we live in a world that's obsessed with quick fixes and shortcuts. People want to lose weight without changing their eating habits. They want to make more money without developing valuable skills. They want better relationships without improving their communication. They want success without sacrifice, progress without discipline, harvest without planting. But life doesn't work that way. Everything has a price, and the price must always be paid in advance. The price of success is paid in daily discipline. The price of health is paid in daily exercise and proper nutrition. The price of wealth is paid in daily financial discipline. The price of great relationships is paid in daily kindness, attention, and care. The good news is that when you pay the price, you always get the reward. The universe keeps perfect books. When you plant, you will eventually harvest. When you invest, you will eventually see returns. When you work on yourself, you will eventually see transformation. The key is to trust the process and stay consistent with your daily disciplines, even when you don't see immediate results. Think about a farmer for a moment. A farmer plants seeds in the spring, tends to them throughout the summer, and harvests in the fall. The farmer doesn't plant seeds on Monday and expect to harvest on Tuesday. The farmer understands that there's a season for planting, a season for nurturing, and a season for harvesting. The farmer trusts the process. Your 6-month transformation follows the same principle. The first few months are your planting season. You're planting new habits, new thoughts, new behaviors. The middle months are your nurturing season. You're tending to these new patterns, protecting them from weeds and pests, making sure they have what they need to grow. The final months are your harvest season. You're seeing the fruits of your labor, enjoying the results of your discipline. But just like a farmer doesn't stop farming after one harvest, you don't stop growing after one transformation. The habits, skills, and mindsets you develop during your 6-month transformation become the foundation for your next level of growth. Success is not a destination you arrive at, it's a way of traveling. This brings me to one of the most important concepts I want to share with you, the concept of identity-based change. Most people try to change their circumstances without changing their identity. They want to lose weight while still thinking of themselves as someone who struggles with their weight. They want to make more money while still thinking of themselves as someone who's bad with money. They want better relationships while still thinking of themselves as someone who's unlucky in love. But here's the truth: you cannot consistently act in a way that's inconsistent with how you see yourself. If you see yourself as someone who's overweight, you'll act like someone who's overweight. If you see yourself as someone who's broke, you'll act like someone who's broke. If you see yourself as someone who's unlucky in relationships, you'll act like someone who's unlucky in relationships. The key to lasting change is to change your identity first, then let your actions flow from that new identity. Instead of saying, I want to lose weight, say, I am a healthy person. Instead of saying, I want to make more money, say, I am financially responsible and valuable. Instead of saying, I want better relationships, say, I am someone who attracts and maintains great relationships. When you change your identity, your actions automatically align with that new identity. You don't have to force yourself to eat healthy foods when you see yourself as a healthy person. Healthy people naturally choose healthy foods. You don't have to force yourself to save money when you see yourself as financially responsible. Financially responsible people naturally save money. You don't have to force yourself to be kind and loving when you see yourself as someone who has great relationships. People who have great relationships are naturally kind and loving. Your identity is not fixed. It's not determined by your past, your circumstances, or what other people think of you. Your identity is determined by your daily habits and actions. Every time you exercise, you reinforce the identity of someone who values their health. Every time you read a book, you reinforce the identity of someone who values learning. Every time you save money, you reinforce the identity of someone who is financially responsible. Small actions might seem insignificant in the moment, but they're actually votes for the type of person you want to become. Every habit is like casting a ballot. You're voting for your future self with every choice you make. What kind of person are you voting for? This is why consistency is so crucial. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about voting for your desired identity more often than you vote against it. If you want to be a writer, you don't have to write a novel every day, but you do need to write more often than you don't write. If you want to be fit, you don't have to run a marathon every day, but you do need to exercise more often than you don't exercise. The 6-month transformation I'm talking about is really about becoming the person who naturally creates the results you want. It's about developing the character, the habits, the mindset, and the skills that make success inevitable rather than accidental. And here's something beautiful about this approach. Once you become the type of person who creates certain results, those results become automatic. You don't have to struggle to maintain them because they're a natural expression of who you are. A fit person doesn't struggle to stay fit. Being fit is just who they are. A wealthy person doesn't struggle to stay wealthy. Building and maintaining wealth is just who they are. But becoming this type of person requires you to do things you've never done before. It requires you to step outside your comfort zone on a regular basis. It requires you to face your fears, overcome your limiting beliefs, and push through your resistance. It requires you to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. You cannot stay the same and expect your life to change. You cannot keep doing what you've always done and expect different results. If you want your life to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. If you want more, you have to become more. This is both challenging and exciting. It's challenging because change is hard, growth is uncomfortable, and transformation requires effort. But it's exciting because it means you have complete control over your future. You're not a victim of your circumstances, your past, or your genetics. You're the architect of your own destiny. Every single day you get to choose who you want to be. You get to choose what habits you want to reinforce. You get to choose what thoughts you want to think. You get to choose what actions you want to take. And the accumulation of these daily choices determines the trajectory of your life. 6 months from now, you're going to be 6 months older regardless. The only question is, what kind of person are you going to be 6 months from now? Are you going to be the same person you are today, just 6 months older? Or are you going to be a transformed version of yourself, healthier, wealthier, more skilled, more confident, more successful? The choice is yours, but you have to make it now. You have to decide right now that you're going to commit to the process of transformation. You have to decide that you're going to do whatever it takes for the next 6 months to become the person you want to be. You have to decide that your future is more important than your comfort, that your dreams are more important than your fears, that your potential is more important than your past. This decision is not something you make once and then forget about. It's a decision you have to make every single day, sometimes multiple times per day. There will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. There will be moments when you want to quit, when you want to go back to your old ways, when you question whether all this effort is worth it. In those moments, you have to remember why you started. You have to remember the vision you have for your life. You have to remember the person you want to become. You have to remember that temporary discomfort leads to permanent improvement, while temporary leads to permanent regret. The 6 months I'm asking you to commit to will not be the easiest 6 months of your life. They might actually be